Hello guys and welcome back to Championship Predictions. Sophie, the international break is over. Get in there.
Yeah, very happy about that. Hate the international break.
And there isn't an international break till March now.
Oh, thank God.
Some of you may have noticed we've got a slightly different background this time. I have got rid of the black background just to see what you guys think. Do you prefer it like this or do you prefer it with the boring black background? Let us know down below. I just think this gives us a bit more colour. Be sure to share your thoughts. Before we get into the predictions, guys, you guys know the drill. Let's go for a big like target. Let's go for 2,200 likes. It takes 2 seconds, so please be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And if you've not already subscribed, help us in our pursuit of 83,000 subscribers now. I don't know, you guys have been amazing. Make sure to get involved. The scores from last time, Sophie, I did just beat you. You've got some catching up to do.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of making up to do, but I'm confident I'll close the gap.
Okay. Right, into the predictions we go, Sophie, and it's Plymouth versus Watford. Two teams that have just simply been better at home than they have been away. Plymouth are obviously fighting off relegation. They've had some decent results here and there. And Watford, on the other hand, obviously they're in the playoff mix. They're having a really good season. Yeah. I know that I said they're both better at home, but Watford did get that 6-2 away win at Sheffield Wednesday a few weeks ago, and Plymouth did get a 1-1 draw away at Derby in the Wayne Rooney Derby just before the international break, which was quite something. Look, I think because it's at home park, I'm going to struggle to separate these, but I just feel like it's such a cliche now. I like Plymouth when they're at home. 2-1 Plymouth.
Wow, I thought you might back a draw with them being at home, and I know Watford aren't as good, despite their last result, they're not as good on the road. And going up against a team that probably are looking to get most of their points at home, I think this could be a tough one. But I think on their day, Watford could do it. I'm going to chuck a couple goals in there. 3-1 Watford.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm going for the away side here. I think they'll get another big away win.
3-1 Watford. Yep. Share your thoughts on that one down below. We're going in opposite directions. I just like me some Plymouth when they're at home, but you can understand Watford probably have been the better team this season. That is just a fact. Yeah. Right, the next one's really interesting, Sophie. Bristol City versus Burnley. We've got Burnley who are doing all right.
Defensively, solid.
Yeah.
Absolutely solid. But they're not scoring that many goals.
The not setting the world on fire, but they're actually doing okay. Bristol City, on the other hand, they're doing really, really well considering the expectations this season and the things that have gone on this season. Only lost like 3 games this year, which is incredible. And they've been on a really good run. I think Bristol City will get something here. It's just about what can they get, because I think Burnley have been really tight at the back. And let's go for a draw, 1-1.
Okay, I was tempted to say a 0-0, but I actually think that Burnley might snatch it. I think the XG might be relatively low for Burnley, but I just think defensively they look absolutely solid. And Bristol City, to give Bristol City nothing in this game, I feel a little bit harsh because they've played quite well this season, so it might seem a little bit harsh going against them. So I'm just going to edge Burnley on this one. I think it could be a low scoring one, so Burnley 1-0.
Burnley 1-0. Yeah, I could see that happening. I mean, they've only conceded 6 goals this season in 15 games.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
It is. And can you imagine if they were scoring lots of goals as well? They'd be absolutely flying, and that's just their downfall this season. They're
still scoring a few, but yeah, I suppose, if they could score more. Yeah. On to the next one, Sophie. This will be interesting. Coventry City take on Sheffield United. Now, at the time of recording this, on Monday, Coventry haven't got a manager. I might have to record over this when I release this video on the Wednesday if something happens in that time, because Frank Lampard has been linked, Ruud van Nistelrooy's been linked to Lee Carsley. They've all put their CVs in, and they're all getting, they're all moving around in the odds on who's going to get it.
Yeah, they've all spent their time as the favourite, but it's constantly changing.
It's an interesting one. We'll just have to see what happens. I hope the crowd is a good one. If we haven't appointed a new manager, it will be Rhys Carr.
Leading us out.
Probably no Hadji Wright. That's a loss.
Yeah.
And, it's going to be the return of Gus Hamer and Callum O'Hare. So, interesting this. Sheffield United have been good. They would be top of the league if they didn't have a 2-point deduction. Chris Wilder looks back to his best. Their defence is really tight.
Yeah.
I've got to be honest, Sophie, I'm not sure if I fancy us.
No, I don't really.
The thing is, Coventry are so up and down. We really are. 0-0. I don't know why.
Okay, I was really tempted to say a Sheffield United win, which would be a stinger when you go to the home games and you expect to get something from the games. But the way our season's going at the moment, it's just all up in the air. So I really don't know what to expect from this one. What I do expect is Sheffield United will turn up and they'll definitely give us a good game because they've been pretty solid all season. I really don't want to go against us. If, obviously, I took away my bias, I probably would go for Sheffield United, maybe 1-0 win. But I'm going to go 1-1. I do think we are capable of getting something from it if we turn up, we're fighting, because if we don't have a manager at this point, I want the players to actually fight for their position. But I don't think we're going to win it. So 1-1.
I don't know what to say. I think because we haven't appointed a manager yet, it's difficult.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
Look, let's just try and get behind the boys. They probably do need our support. These lads...
good crowd, good atmosphere. I think that's what the players need.
Well, to be honest, they should just play at their best all the time. But, they're so inconsistent. And I still am annoyed that these players have basically cost Mark Robins his job. Look, let's see. Anyway, fingers crossed, play up Sky Blues. Right, on to the next one. We go to Hillsborough, where Sheffield Wednesday take on Cardiff City. Now, this is a difficult one, Sophie, because Cardiff have been in good form. But Sheffield Wednesday have been playing all right. They've been doing okay. They're mid-table. I know, they lost to Watford a few weeks ago, and then I think just before the international break, they did lose to Sheffield United in the Steel City derby. This is a difficult one. I think I'm going to go down the middle. Cardiff have been improving. I think most of those results have come at home, but they did lose at home to Blackburn 3-1 before the international break. Going to go 1-1.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go 1-1. I think that's playing it safe, to be honest, going down the middle, because no team right now is completely setting the league alight. So I think they're almost going to cancel each other out, and that's why I'm going for a draw.
Yeah, 1-1. Both go for the 1-1. Yeah, I don't know. I suppose Cardiff have been the better form team recently, but I think there could be little to separate them. Right, on to the next one, Sophie. Let's go to Blackburn Rovers Ewood Park as they take on Portsmouth. Now, Portsmouth, great win against Preston just before the international break. 3-1 winners there. But speaking of 3-1, Blackburn went and won 3-1 at Cardiff for their first away win. Naturally, I think Blackburn have been the better team. They have been pretty good at home, and Portsmouth are down in the bottom three. But I think you could see Portsmouth coming here and giving it a real go.
Yeah, they have to, don't they? Every game now.
They've had lots of close games and lots of draws as well.
Yeah, a lot of draws.
So I think there could be very little to separate them. Either a draw, or I think Blackburn win by 1 goal, and I'm just going to go with the latter. Blackburn 2-1.
Yeah, I'm actually going for the same. I think Portsmouth are going to be in it. As I said, where you are in the table right now, you've got to fight for every single point. Draws aren't cutting it. Obviously, a loss won't do anything for you, but to keep it nice and tight in the game, I think is the most important thing, and I think Portsmouth are capable of doing that. But I think Blackburn are almost returning to the form that they started the season with, hopefully for them, because they looked very, very good. So I think they might have turned a corner, and that's why I'm backing them to win 2-1. Yeah,
both go for Blackburn 2-1. Share your thoughts on that one down in the comments. Next up, Sophie, we're going to go to Kenilworth Road, where Luton Town take on Hull City. At the time of recording this on the Monday, they both have their managers. I'd be surprised if they changed them between now and the weekend.
Yeah, because they've not done it over the international break, so it'd be weird to do it now.
But I did think, coming into the international break, one of these might lose their jobs.
Yeah.
I thought in particular Rob Edwards was going to go. After that 5-1 defeat to Middlesbrough and the way he looked in that post-match interview.
So dejected.
Look, fair play to Luton for trying to give him a chance. And if it works, great. Because I like the story of Rob Edwards at Luton. But it's not been great this season. And eventually he will run out of time. But Hull City, is it Volta who's going to be under pressure? They've not been great. Let's go with the home advantage. I'm going to back Luton 1-0.
I think this has got a draw written all over it, because it doesn't help either team really, or either manager. I think 1-1 right now, can't really separate the two. The two teams massively underperforming, not doing too well. So I'm going to go 1-1.
1-1. Okay, all right, share your thoughts down below. Next one, Sophie, this is a really tasty one. Let's go to the Den as in-form Millwall take on top of the table Sunderland. Really, really difficult this. You know, we love backing Millwall 1-0 at home. It worked against Leeds, it worked against Burnley. So will it work against Sunderland? I mean, it could do.
Didn't work against Stoke though, did it?
No, but they weren't at home. So they were away. Sunderland have been... Look, they haven't lost in the last few games, but they've drawn 3 in a row. They had back-to-back 0-0s away from home, and then they had that 2-2 with Coventry where they played well in the first half.
Should have put the game to bed.
Scored some good goals.
Yeah,
and
very good goals.
Sunderland just don't know how to beat Coventry, it seems. You know, they threw it away.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for a draw here. Millwall have been in great form. I have a feeling you're going to go 1-0 Millwall, but I'm going to go 1-1.
Yeah, so Millwall at home?
Yes.
1-0 Millwall.
There you go.
Yeah, it's just a safe bet at this point. Defensively solid. They managed to get a goal at some point in the game, and they'll just sit on it, and they'll see it out. It's a very professional way of doing it. But I think even against Sunderland, who on their day, a very good team, 2 insane goals against Coventry City, but stupidly, second half, they just let us back into the game. We were very, very poor. So to get just a point from that game, I think that was quite poor. They dropped 2 points. So coming up against Millwall, who are in way better form than Coventry City, I think they'll do it. 1-0 Millwall. 1-0
Millwall. Share your thoughts on that one down below. I don't think the Sunderland fans can be too frustrated with that because Millwall have been great.
They have, yeah.
They've been in better form than Sunderland lately.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll see how that one plays out. The next one, Sophie, is Oxford United versus Middlesbrough. Now, looking at the numbers of these two this season, you'd make Middlesbrough favourites because they create lots of chances. In the last 2 games, Sophie, scored 9 goals. 4 against QPR, 5 against Luton. And Oxford, they've only won 1 in about 10 games. But I do think Oxford are slightly better at home. And this game, I don't know why, I could just see Middlesbrough coming and creating loads and loads and loads and being punished for not taking chances. 2 on Oxford.
Oh, wow. Okay. I thought you might touch on the fact that Middlesbrough seem to have a few injuries. I think they picked up a couple more over the international break.
Wow.
They've got Ben Doak on loan, and he is
good.
insane, even on his international duty. He's some player, isn't he? I still do think they've got enough quality to win this game. I'm going to back it. I think it could be a low-scoring one. I'm going to say 1-0 Middlesbrough, just because right now Oxford aren't in the best of form. I wouldn't be surprised if they scored, actually. So I think giving Middlesbrough a clean sheet would be something against Oxford at home. So I am giving Oxford credit there, but I do think Middlesbrough just have enough to get it over the line.
Yeah, there you go. Share your thoughts. We're going in opposite directions there. I think Middlesbrough should be favourites, but I don't know. Oxford at home, they're slightly better than when they are away. Right, the next one, Sophie, let's go to Deepdale. It's Preston versus Derby County. Now, for me, I think the home advantage could be crucial here. I think Preston are my favourites because Derby are good at home. Well, they did get an away win at Coventry.
Not hard, though.
And then,
so bad.
to be fair, they only managed to draw at home to Plymouth last time.
True.
Interesting matchup here. Paul Warren versus Heckingbottom. Let's be honest, Heckingbottom's got to get results because Preston are still sort of meandering down at the bottom. It felt like he came in and they got a couple of results. Like they beat Luton, I think they beat Coventry, but they're just kind of stagnating down at the bottom. Preston have got to win, but I don't know. I mean, Derby have impressed me this season. Wouldn't surprise me if they get a draw. 1-1.
Yeah, I'm going for a 1-1. What I will say about Derby is it might sound a little bit harsh. Like, you'll watch them and you won't think, oh, that's some nice football. But they do the job, and that's all that matters, getting the points on the board, especially as a newly promoted team. It's just purely about staying up and doing as well as you can do. And so far, they have impressed me. I think I said already in our matchday vlog that their fans were unreal. So if they can do the same up at Deepdale and get behind the boys, I think that'll help see the boys getting a draw there. I'm not going to go all the way and say a win because I do think Preston, especially having the home advantage, are capable of getting all 3 points, but I think getting a point at Deepdale would be massive for Derby County, and right now, form Preston are in, I can see that happening.
Yeah, there you go. We're going for the same outcome there. Share your thoughts. Next up, Sophie, it's a team bottom of the table, Queen's Park Rangers. They've got to get a move on.
Yeah.
They take on Stoke City, and this is a difficult one to predict because it's Stoke, and Stoke could do anything. Could be 3-0 QPR, could be 4-0 Stoke.
They'll do the opposite of whatever we predict. So if we predict them to win, they'll probably go on to lose.
Well, in that case, the Stoke City fans will probably be happy that I'm seeing this as an opportunity to back QPR. I've not been that impressed with QPR. They did have a couple of draws against Sunderland and Burnley,
good draws.
And then they got smashed up by Middlesbrough. Let's go for it. QPR have got to start winning somewhere. Against Stoke, it's possible they could win, lose or draw. Let's go 1-0 QPR.
Do you know what will happen now? It'll be a draw because I'm going for Stoke. And we can never get a Stoke scoreline right. So I think right now, I fancy Stoke in this game. Depends which team turns up, but I think the best QPR could get from this game, it sounds harsh, but is a draw. I don't think they're capable of getting the win. Sounds really harsh, but I just genuinely don't. I wouldn't put any money on that.
They've got to start winning somewhere, though.
They have to, but I don't think it's going to be against Stoke. So I'm going to say Stoke 1-0. Low scoring one, but I still think Stoke get the 3 points.
There you go. Right, yeah, share your thoughts on that one. Both going 1-0 in opposite directions.
Yeah.
Right, next up to the Drawthorns. It's West Bromwich Albion versus Norwich City. Look, it's two teams that were in the playoffs last year, two teams that you associate with pushing for promotion in this division. They've kind of gone in opposite directions with form recently. West Brom had been drawing a load, and then you stick a win on the end at Hull City, and it makes it look a bit more like a good run. It was an unbeaten run, whereas Norwich, I think it's 3 draws and 3 defeats in the last 6.
Yeah, it's quite poor.
Something really bad there, yeah. I think I like Norwich. I mean, I like Thorpe as well. I think they're going to be there or thereabouts, and they've got Borgia signs. But they are missing a few key players, Josh Sargent being one.
They have got a few injuries.
I think they'll turn it around eventually, but I think this is a difficult one for Norwich. I think this will either be a draw or the Baggies snatch it, and I'm going to go for the Baggies. 1-0.
Yeah, I'm going 1-0 as well. I think it could be a low scoring one. I think a draw would actually be an alright result for Norwich right now, especially on the road. But their current form, and then compared to West Brom, drawing quite a lot, they're not conceding many goals. I think West Brom have to be the favourites going into this. I do think Norwich will turn it around at some point, but not this game. So 1-0 to the Baggies.
1-0 to the Baggies, yeah. All right, share your thoughts on that one. And the final game then, Sophie, I believe it's on the Sunday, and we go down to South Wales as Swansea City take on Leeds United. Now, Swansea, they've got a really good defence, but they've also got a very poor attack. No, I don't mean that in any disrespect. We just keep looking at their numbers, and they're not moving. They're just like really low in every game, like low scoring, low goals against. I mean, in fairness, they should have got a 0-0 at Burnley just before the international break. I mean, thankfully for my prediction, Burnley snatched it in the 94th minute, but it was a dubious penalty, I must say.
It was,
I could see them keeping this game close against Leeds. I mean, Leeds definitely come here as favourites. They've been moving along nicely. It does feel like the way Leeds are going, you can see them finishing second or third, but they've got that extra gear that they could climb into and really drive on to the top. I mean, if Leeds can go and win the next 6 in a row, they'll establish themselves at the top of the table. Do you know what? I'm tempted to go very low scoring, but let's change it up for the Swansea fans and say both teams are going to score for once.
Okay.
Swansea 1, Leeds 2.
Okay, I think we're both picking the same winner here. We're both going for the favourites, but what I can see is Swansea really frustrating Leeds, much like they did against Burnley. I think it's going to be a late goal, not as late as the Burnley one, but I think Leeds score late on in the second half to see out a 1-0 win. And it's still a massive win. It's another 3 points, and they'll be creating a nice gap up there, but yeah, I think Leeds have got the quality to break Swansea's defence down, but only by 1 goal. So 1-0.
1-0. Well, there you go then, guys. That wraps up the Championship predictions for the first week after the international break. And remember, there's no international breaks till March. Yes. So we've got lots of Championship content coming. Make sure to get involved by dropping a like, supporting us, and please be sure you are subscribed as well. Join us on the road to 83,000 subscribers. Thank you for joining me, Sophie.
Thank you.
We will be back with Premier League predictions tomorrow. Take care. Peace out.